Welcome back to the Cosasverdes show. New viewers, you might start off by checking out this 90-second video right here. I made it today. It's a 90-second follow-up from my Bitcoin analysis yesterday so that you can see that my TA works, how it works, and how I describe it, so you can get into the channel, then come back to this video and watch this one. Today, we're going to cover the large-term, mid-term, and short-term timeframes, likely focusing on short-term timeframes, the pivot points of buyers and sellers, so you can stay in the know. Where I'm going to go with the large-term time frames, just keep in context. Harry Potter invisibility cloak, let's go. Right behind me, this is NASDAQ E-mini futures. The ticker, you can see it says NQ1 exclamation. If you want to type that in, just remember, I keep saying the bottom can't be in because line A must be hit before a stock market has a bottom. But it's actually way more probable that line B will be hit. Way more probable. So from a stock market standpoint, you got 16% left to go, and Bitcoin typically moves 2 to 4 times more aggressively than this. So Bitcoin's got lower lows to go. Line A is going to be hit. Like with it's such a high probability, there's no reason to even assume it won't be hit. So because this rally's over now, right, fairly definitively over, this rally here in the stock market and on Bitcoin making the same exact shapes, because it's over, that means lower lows, this low is going to be taken out, and this line might be hit on the next drive down. It might take a week or two to get there. It might take a month or two, but the next drive will probably finally lead to line A. And that is the big picture for the long-term timeframes for Bitcoin. I think this next move is going to bring lower lows, and that is the reason why. So let's jump into the midterm and small-term timeframes. And by the end of the video, make sure you stay tuned, because I'm going to give you precise levels on where price could pivot, where sellers will take a break and buyers will try to make a lower high. And then we're going to jump into the charts, and I'm going to show you exact levels. Here we go. Quick rundown on these composite futures. Just realize that this is the .com bubble way down here. See how high it went above all these blue lines? Why are my blue lines not perfectly straight? That's weird. It should be perfectly straight. Let's do it like this. 5-day? Nope, that makes it even worse. This line is out of balance, darn it. Should not be like that. There we go. I must have dragged it in a different video. And right here. There you go. So line A it's going to be hit. The farther above the equator line that you get, the better a chance you have. You actually overshoot it on its way down. So and when you go below it, what do? You spring right back up to either the equator line or the line just below it. So it's like a mean reversion, right? So here, went too far above it as it comes back to hit the mean. So let's dive into there. It's likely going to overshoot it, not on the exact same drive. So line A is probably going to be hit after these lows are taken out. And the same type of deal is going to happen on Bitcoin. That's your larger picture. All right. And so let's dive into Bitcoin now. And let me give you the levels that price is flirting with. Now I'm going to go to the 15-minute chart on Bitcoin. Right now, we have an origin line coming into play. If that is over, so the price level for that is going to be, and I'll zoom out so you can see what the hell is going on here. The next possible area, or likely area, that bears will take a break from selling and bulls will take a turn of buying is around 20,450. 2450 is your next potential pivot point. Let's zoom out. If that, and this is the daily 21 EMA where the bulls had a chance, but the bears just didn't take a break yet. All right. So this is an origin line. This has 12, 13 years of price history. It goes back to the origin of price history of Bitcoin, right? Now, if 20,450 is taken out by the bears, then you have these two levels, which are monthly candle pivots. This is where things can get really, really hairy. But the bears will very likely take a small term time frame breather from this area. So if this origin line is taken out, the next pit stop, so this is where the next day, it might wait till tomorrow's candle opens. So right here I have marked where the next, on the 15-minute chart, this is where the next daily candle begins right here. And then the last 4-hour candle begins here. All right. And a lot of times you have pivot points at 4-hour candles. So when price is touching this line on the beginning of the last 4-hour candle, I could see the bears taking a break. So that is to say, they would need to take out this line and hit this line before this time pivot right here. Do you see what I'm saying? All right, because that's a lot of times where the bears or bulls take a break at the 4-hour candle marks. All right, so let's take a look here. If the origin line is taken out, then your next pivot points are 20,000 almost on the nose, and then 19,550 roughly. 19,560. This top of the line is multi-month candle openings / clothings, and this line here is multi-month candle wicks on the monthly candle. So now I'm going to put on the monthly chart and show you. All right. This is so why this is extremely significant. It's going to look messy. I'll clean it up here in just a second. Boom. And boom. This is the 2-week. There we go. All right, so take a look here. This is the monthly chart. That box, the top of the box are these monthly candle openings, and the bottom of the box is the wick area, okay? If that box is taken out on the short-term time frame, that means that you are falling. Let me make myself bigger as I say that. Price is going to fall off a cliff, and it's really going to accelerate to the downside, and that will be in coordination with the stock market also wanting to zoom down and make lower lows to, at least for the NASDAQ futures, to race towards line A. All right. It's going to happen at the same time. Is it going to happen this week? I don't know. Just keep your eye on that exact box. So let's go back down to the lower time frames, the 15-minute now. So now that you know what that is and the significant, like it's a big deal, right? So let's put this back on. And here we go. All right. That's what this box down here is. Monthly pivot. And if price goes below 19,560 and uses it as support, again, I put emphasis on and because the first time this is broken right here, it's possible that it comes right back up and doesn't use it as resistance and makes a lower high at the origin line. So let me show you a couple price paths. It doesn't mean the first pass is going to definitely like start tanking, right? I mean, you could have some trick plays around there. So put this horizontal on your freaking Bitcoin chart. Just a box between 20,060 to 19,565. Make that horizontal and spread it out across a week or two, because this could be in play for the next couple weeks. So if price blasts through here, it could bounce somewhere in this box. It could bounce in the middle, could bounce on the top, could bounce at the bottom. And then I could see either the origin line labeled here, this blue line, or as high as the daily 21 EMA, which will be sloping down. So let's draw out this daily. So this would be sloping down. Therefore, over the next week or two, until this level is taken out, your best friend is going to be the origin line, all right, and the daily 21 and this box. And that's it. For short-term time frames, that's all you're going to need until you either start racing up, which probably isn't going to happen, or you break below this box. That's pretty much all that's going to be in play, because the weekly 10 is up higher, and it's sort of out of play as of now. And it's going to take a while for it to slope down, to be back in play. Does that make sense? So the most major EMA in play is the daily 21. Then you have a 13-year-old line here, and then you have a monthly, like, super significant cliff. If you can only choose 3 things on your chart for the next several days, I mean, that's it. These are the tools you need to understand the pivot points of buyers and sellers. Where will sellers likely take a break to allow the bulls to like have their best chance? So the sellers will just sit back and like, all right, your turn, guys. What do you have? That's pretty much what's going to happen. And then the sellers are going to say, okay, you've had your turn. I took a nap. Let's go back in and crush your asses. Probably about what's going to happen over the month of September. Seriously. All right. So I'm saying any move up is likely going to result in lower highs. The bears are in full force control. All right. But they will take naps. And they'll let the bulls come play. right? They're going to. But it's just a question of when does that start happening? And it looks like the bears want some more right now. All right. Whew. Wow. I'm surprised the bears have not taken a break yet. They might go straight towards this line. Wow. That is a little impressive. That means S&P 500 must be really making some aggressive new lows. Let's take a look. Wow. I didn't expect that to happen today. They're really getting it. Wow. Yeah, this could be happening now. Wow. I should have left my shorts open. Damn. All right. Here we go. So it looks like regardless of where this slows down, in this box, you could have a lot happen because it's a monthly line. If sellers don't take a break before this, they're likely going to take a break somewhere in here, but it could come in three forms. It could come at the bottom of the box, the top of the box, or a fake out below it. All you do is take this rough shape and it could go like this for a lower, so end up making a lower high somewhere before heading back down. All right. So if that's a bounce at the top of the box, it could bounce in the middle of the box, then get a lower high at the daily 21, or you could get bounce at the bottom of the box, get rejected at the origin line. See, origin line, or it could make a slope down, look like it's going to get rejected, but keep higher low structure and then zoom up and probably still get rejected by the origin line and the daily 21, because the daily 21 will have a more aggressive slope down, and it'll probably hit it when the daily 21 crosses the origin line. Somewhere around there, put a pin in it, boom, and that would take how many days from now if that were to play out? That would be potentially today, actually. This all could happen today. Very short-term time frames, but I'm telling you, this area is key, 19,560, but if it seems to go under it on very small candles, it doesn't mean it's going to keep blasting through. The key is you want to see how it interacts when it comes back up, and I would guess if it does go, just dives down here on first pass, that it's going to work its way back up without using that as resistance. That would be my guess. It is possible that things just keep accelerating down, but this would be my best guess. I think this is the point, a pivot point, when sellers will take a breather. They will likely take a nap and allow the bulls to have their lower high party somewhere up here and bring a price back potentially up to 20,500, 20,450, somewhere in that area. So the sellers are getting their freak on right now. Hot damn. This sell-off's going to be really aggressive. If you want a good indicator for Bitcoin, it's this chart right here. You literally type in US 500, enter, and then hit enter on TradingView. If this continues making new lows, Bitcoin will continue making new lows. There are very, very few moments where Bitcoin, the algos turn off their crypto connection. And I will say that again. There are some of those moments, but it's fairly infrequent that the traditional finance algos, which essentially control Bitcoin price completely, right? It is their orders, their market buys, their market sells, their futures orders that are literally dictating price. And they might have a few battles with the exchanges as whales, because if you don't think exchanges are doing weird stuff with Bitcoin price, or at least attempting, you're wrong. And I don't think they're in coordination with traditional finance. But right now, traditional finance is rock and roll. Bitcoin's moving right with this. Okay? So you could also look at this chart to see, okay, is it bouncing? Well, then Bitcoin likely will bounce too, because their algos typically are a direct correlation to Bitcoin. If there's a 5-minute red candle on this chart, there's very likely, statistically likely, being a 5-minute candle on the Bitcoin chart. And you can use this as your primary indicator for Bitcoin. Does that make sense? All right, so let's go back to Bitcoin. And those are all your immediate levels. Now, when could you start seeing a bounce here using indicators instead of levels? So I just gave you the levels and I gave you the reasons why. But if you want an extra, area of confluence, some extra confidence within indicators, this is what I like to look out for. Typically, let me go to a clean chart. Typically, I like to see the 15-minute RSI. Okay, I use this indicator. I like it to at least get on its EMA and start making higher highs and higher lows. It tried to do it here, probably, and it's not even having bullish divergence yet. This is a lower low and a lower low in price. So this has some work to do, but typically you don't start getting to move up until the 15-minute has gotten on top of its 12 EMA. You could use the 14 if you want, but I have the 12 EMA, I believe, of the RSI. Yeah, I have the 12. And when it starts getting on top of there, then you typically start making a move back up. So if you want or on the 1 hour, you could also use the 1 hour. Once the 1 hour just plain old gets above its EMA and uses 1 tick as support, so something like this. So that's the EMA. And the RSI itself, boom. Once you get that tick up right there, that's when price likes to try to make its first attempt at a lower high. When it really starts moving is when it can get all the way back up here and maintain itself on this and then breaks above this white line right here. And if you don't know how to use this indicator, you can go to my playlist, the playlist called Learn Trading Basics, and just watch how to set up my chart. I have it tagged this exact moment where I show you which indicator this is if you want to use a more advanced RSI tool than the basic RSI. All right, so the 1 hour RSI has a lot of work. So honestly, the bears are in total full control. So if you're trying to counter trend trade, you'd want to get out fairly quickly, because this is going to either make new lows or retag the current lows that it'll make. This is starting to sell off fairly aggressively here. Okay, let's go down to the 15-minute chart and let's take a look. All right, keep in mind that when the bears take a breather, okay, let's look at the daily 21. Daily 21 has been, let's say it's the most major EMA that's in play. So this daily 21 is the yellow line, daily 21 EMA. When the bears take a nap and allow the bulls to come play, just realize if price gets up to here, it likely won't be able to pass, get it, go above it on first pass. And potentially make a higher low if price does manage to get above here. If this isn't, okay, I'm saying if, then the weekly 10 EMA becomes back in play, which at that point, so it's way up here, by that point, it would probably be somewhere around here at local resistance, and then your next resistance point to the upside would be about 21,300. If bulls can bring price back above the daily 21. I'm kind of doubting it at this point. I'm thinking that price won't try to get above this 21 EMA until after this point. So I think price needs to go lower to drag this EMA down farther and then try to get above. And by that point, the weekly 10 will be even lower, closer to the origin line. So if I had to make a guess, I think the point by which the daily 21 is potentially used as support before a lower high is made, potentially here, is that price drags the daily 21 down even farther, gets above it once it's in this box, starts sloping up like this, and that would be at the time that the weekly 10 EMA, which I will make red. So this weekly 10 EMA, see how it's right here? Price was pissing with it for a long time. Can you see that? Here. See that? It was pissing with it for like days and at a time, all these small candles. Okay, I think that more likely for a lower high is that the weekly 10, price might hang out until the weekly 10 is crossing that origin line or somewhere close. And this is the point in which price tries to get above the daily 21 and then gets rejected, maybe a double rejection from the origin line, and then goes down below the cliff, the monthly cliff. Let's make this a different color, blue. All right. That's kind of how I see this potentially playing out. So we might be looking at 2 attempts to get above the daily 21, and then potentially a double rejection from the origin line. If price can more immediately get above the daily 21, then your immediate local resistance is going to be 21.3, in which point, if that were to happen, the bears would probably take full force control and then bring stuff back down to this box for one more even lower high and then bring it down. So these are really all the tools you need. Right now, the weekly 10's out of play, so you probably don't even need it. Daily 21, this origin line, which I've covered multiple times on my channel, how to draw for local price, all right? And if you are new, just try to make it look roughly like mine is. It's not a horizontal, it's slightly increasing. and then the horizontal box, the monthly cliff. All right, so before you go, just if you want to try, new viewers, get this origin line about the same, go to the, let's say, go to the the 1 hour chart, and a lot of these lows on August 28th, August 30th, September 1st of this year. See how so let me zoom into that area. It hits the second one perfectly, is lower than the first one, and is above. So just try to make this line similar and then extend it into current price if you want to try to get that third tool similar to how I have it. You can see, I mean, price just tanked right down and potentially stopping right at that line. This is a real line. It's got, I mean, it's a strong likelihood that this is a pivot point for where sellers take a nap, buyers come into play, and then I've already given you the upper targets of where the sellers will likely come in and smack the baby bulls on the head and push them back down like a prairie dog. Well, bam, get back in your hole. Click this video right here if you missed my last Bitcoin analysis from yesterday, so you can see how I saw that this could be a likely area for strong resistance, the exact point. I was off by $5. And click this video right here if you haven't looked at my playlist of the most important crypto price analysis videos I've ever made. You got Tim Avad Worldwide. Peace.